tracks on the album.
Yeah.
10's 5, 12's 6.
Thanks for pointing that out. It's been a long day.
Yeah, what's wrong here?
It's just been a
We're
long
halfway
day.
through at 5.
Yeah.
but there's 12, Mark.
Are you
Been
okay?
a long
5.
day.
Are you okay, Hon?
Right. I'm not okay. Dealing with you two. Right, Bittersweet next. We just mentioned him, Nadeem Timouri. Obviously, Bittersweet is a very difficult tune to play. I've said that on numerous occasions. And we'll get to that. But if there's one reason to listen to this track on the album, it's to listen to this unreal, out of this world break where Nadeem just flies off on a solo break at breakneck speed. And it is just, I don't know how he does it.
No.
I literally do not know how he does it. And like you said, I think this one we probably did 3 or 4 times. I remember watching him in the control room.
Yeah.
And every time he did that break, it was different.
Yeah.
And every time he did it, it was just unreal, just so good.
And he was never really that happy with it.
No.
Which was all the more mind-boggling.
I
Yeah.
remember, I think I was joking after like the first couple, he was like, I don't really want to do that. I was like, yeah, Nadeem, I think you really need to have another go at that. You know, obviously mocking him for,
So
how
we can
good
hear
he
some
is.
more.
Yeah, so we can hear some more. But even like, I think Rory was with me and we were just listening to him and like, people just smiling or shaking their head. It's like, it's just unreal to witness it, be in the same room or the same studio. But yeah, I mean, that whole solo on that track is just so you've obviously listened to all the takes.
Yeah.
How do you pick which one?
I think that wasn't too difficult to pick that
No,
one.
I think that one was, it was pretty evident, I think, straight away, the one that we were going to pick. And I don't think it wasn't any reflection on necessarily what he did. It was just, there was just an energy to it. And I think that take, it was like, I remember, that break is so ferocious, isn't it? You think there's no
Where's
way.
he gonna go
Yeah,
from
there's
here?
no way
he's
that
going to land on the one. Like, how's he going to do that? And it's like perfect.
Yeah, but you're like, how can he sustain that for however many bars?
Yeah.
And yet he
Keep the time.
he's just, unbelievable.
Well, you said to me, didn't you, when we finally sort of pieced it all together, when we inserted his solo or whatever, that when he comes towards the back end, or he's I can't remember how many bars he must have. You're just thinking it's so high energy at this point. Where's he going to go?
Yeah.
Where's he going to go? And then the piece changes,
The band come back
moves
in.
up,
and he
finds somewhere else
finds
to
the
go.
next
and you're
gear.
just
Yeah,
like,
unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's great, and the piece is amazing to listen to. I think it's one of my favourites to listen to.
Yeah.
Because there's just so much going on. You can't almost take it in. Got to give it quite a few goes to see what's all these lines that are crossing over each other and meeting
unreal.
up. And
It
great.
grooves like mad.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
It does.
great
It's really-
piece.
So that's a Lawrence Cottle tune, right?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
you introduced that piece, I think, to us.
Yeah.
And you know Lawrence, yeah?
Yeah.
Has he heard it?
Yeah, and he gave some really lovely feedback. Actually, he was really pleased with it. I think so. So I mean, I was just delighted that he liked it and that we could play one of his pieces, because that was a thing that I think we talked about when we were choosing repertoire. Is there's been such a history with the band of playing all these great American arrangers, but actually there's a real tradition in the UK now of absolutely amazing composers and arrangers, and Lawrence is one of them.
Yeah.
Who, I mean in the most complimentary way, he's one of my absolute top favourite arrangers, ever. But I mean in the most complimentary way, that I do feel like he's a bit of an unsung hero in that I just, he's...
Do you think because people spend more time on his bass playing than his writing? Do you maybe because of that?
Not necessarily that. I'm not sure. I just don't understand why, he's just not like the guy that people check out for that kind of fusion-y, funky writing, because everything that he writes is always so uber hip and considered, and I remember pushing that quite hard early on in the sort of inception of the recording, saying I really hope, maybe we can do something of Lawrence's and showcase some, like a real unsung hero of British arranging. And and writing. So, and Lawrence was super gracious. He sent up a couple of pieces. I think he sent 3 pieces for the band to try. And we were really hard pushed, weren't we, to pick one? There were a couple
we
that
did
were,
them all. One had a funny name. What was it?
Groove.
Gavoove.
Yeah,
That's
that was
it.
it.
Gavoove.
Yeah.
We gave that a good bash as well. But
Yeah.
I think, they were all really difficult to play initially. But yeah, Bittersweet just came out on top.
Yeah. Well, I think he'd initially called it Giblets, I think, which was because it was his
Giblets.
it was his
Giblet.
his version of the chicken. So it's got the same sort of form as the chicken, which is quite a cool tidbit of information. Yeah.
Yeah.
So fantastic piece.
I think Bittersweet's better than Giblets, if I'm honest.
I think maybe, I don't know.
I quite like Giblets.
Do you?
Yeah.
Should we rename the album?
Yeah. The album.
Yeah.
Giblets.
Just call it Giblets.
Just Giblets.
Yeah.
One hearty roast.
Yeah. Oh, I see what you've done there. Bittersweet is just, it is funky as hell. It's really hard to play if anyone that doesn't play out there listening to it. It's difficult to play.
Yeah.
But thanks to Reuben's help in the rehearsal room and in the studio, we pulled it off. But Nadeem's solo, please check it out. Listen to this thing that Nadeem does. I don't even know how to describe it. It's just unreal. And when you hear it, you'll know what I mean.
It's a real we got to that point in the day, didn't we, as well, where I think it was in the afternoon of the second day. And it was about that time where you're hitting that lull. It's been, everyone's been switched on for sort of.
You need something to get you.
Yeah. And I remember because it did take us some time to get this one down just because there was so much in it, And I remember, the first take that Nadeem did, that straight away being that sort of adrenaline boost that everyone needed to. All right, if he's at that level, and it dragged everyone with him,
Good point, actually. Yeah, just a bit like in a football game when your captain comes out with a bit of magic and you kind of switch it on. Yeah, I think you're right. We did need something a bit special at that moment, and we definitely got it.
I've got to say as well, there's some little tricky lead lines in there, lead trumpet lines. Damien did a really good job of that.
Okay.
There's some really tough things to get around your fingers and tricky intervals and stuff like that. I mean, all the parts.
Yeah, it's hard. Yeah. It's a difficult piece to play.
Yeah, but I thought he did a great job of that one.
Brilliant. So that's Bittersweet by Lawrence Cottle. Thank you, Lawrence, if you ever listen to or watch this. That's it. Bittersweet. Track 5 on the album.